Let's talk about one of the most misunderstood things in e-commerce that is absolutely crushing the growth potential that so many brands absolutely deserve. Making a sale is not the same thing as acquiring a customer. Let's break this down to the two big things that we need to know and how you can begin to change the way you look at the sales you make and the customers that you acquire to massively scale your business. And this is one way that I've helped brands change the way they look at their numbers. And as a result, their numbers look a lot different. All right, let's get to it. The biggest fundamental difference between making a sale and acquiring a customer is repeat business, additional revenue, feedback, and ultimately what you can use to leverage your growth. The way I want you to start thinking about this is the story of the hunter and the farmer. Now, the world's greatest hunter might go out there. You might be the best hunter, the best salesperson, the best at getting profit on your sales today. But if you take a day off, or if you have a bad week, you might die. You might go out of business. However, a farmer can throw seeds in the ground, throw some water on it, and feed hundreds. Humanity was around for hundreds of thousands of years with hunting and gathering. But as soon as people began to farm, civilization was born. And in a very short period of time, we went from living in caves to having the internet and going to space and, watching YouTube, right? The point is, you can either follow the path of struggle that will ultimately end in your demise if you ever lose your ability to do your job and you're not willing to work every single day. You can begin to focus on long-term growth that'll ultimately allow you to be far more successful on way less work. That's the difference between making a sale and acquiring a customer. So one of the big differences between making a sale and acquiring a customer is in the economic impact of repeat purchases and what this does to the rest of the business. Now, the first metric we need to look at when we're gonna try to be a farmer and build an empire versus being a hunter and trying not to die is second purchase rate. SPR. Now, second purchase rate basically says, how often does somebody who buys one product buy from us again? Is it 1%? Is it 10%? Is it 50%? And also, when does that second purchase happen? Is it 30 days, 90 days, 2 years? These are fundamental things that we need to know, and that can build the foundation that we can build our empire on. So the second thing we need to focus on when we're working on building this empire instead of trying to hunt and not be dead is that we need to ultimately shift what's important from AOV to LTV. Instead of looking at the average order value of every transaction, start looking at the lifetime value of every customer. Don't look at how much meat and berries you can hunt today. Think about how much corn each seed will produce. When we begin to look at numbers in this way, we can start focusing on weeks, months, quarters, or years into the future for the growth of our business. Last thing I want to touch on here before we get into how you should change the way that you measure stuff is really understanding one simple question. Are you a brand or are you a product? If you don't know the answer to that, you're probably a product. Now, to be fair, there are some products that are massively successful, but even those tend to be the hero product of a brand. When you see big winners on Shark Tank like Scrub Daddy, well, there's like 5 or 10 of them you can buy. And yeah, it depreciates in value and eventually you have to buy a new one. But that business that's producing multiple SKUs and selling 1-packs and 3-packs and 5-packs and subscriptions and on Amazon and in retail, they are far more than just the one thing. As a matter of fact, I challenge you to actually come up with any 8 or 9 figure business built on one product. And if you know one, drop it in the comments below. I'd love to have my opinion change. The point here is, if you really want to be successful, you have to start thinking like your product as the front end to your business, to your brand. Otherwise, as soon as it turns cold or you have a few bad days or God forbid you want to go on vacation, you could go out of business. Now, before we go much further, I know you're getting a lot of value out of this. Remember to hit the like button and to go ahead and tap subscribe, ring the bell, make sure you don't miss anything that comes out of this channel because this is going to help you have the best year ever. All right, let's get back to it. So I promised you we were gonna change the way that we measure this stuff. And the number one thing that we need to do is shift our focus from thinking about ROAS or MER, these effectively trash metrics that a lot of business owners have been taught to value because digital marketing companies years ago used it as a sales pitch. And by years, I mean decades ago. We need to stop focusing on the ego of the marketer and start focusing on the success of the business with something we call PSM. Profitable Scaling Margin. So let's break down ROAS for just 1 second. ROAS is basically our profit for today. We spent X amount of money, we made X amount of money. The only problem is that number isn't real. It's based off of attribution, and every single channel will lie to you. So then we say, well, we use MER. Great, that's also a lying number. Does it take into account cost? Does it take into account lifetime value? Does it take into account how many of those purchases or repeats or not? No, it's just a snapshot in time, and you can't plan for tomorrow's success and the next move you're gonna make in a week or a month or a year based off of how profitable yesterday was. Remember we were talking about hunters and farmers. A hunter wakes up with little to no food and has to go out and survive today. Probably a lot like your business. If you don't have repeat buyers, if you don't have customers, and all you're doing is making sales. Instead, the farmer wakes up with silos full of grain and the ability to take the week off and just get fat. This is what we call the revenue floor. How much money do you wake up with? If you didn't advertise today, if you didn't work today, if you spent no money on ads, how much money would you get? What volume of sales would you have if you didn't go out and hunt today? How much food would you have if you didn't go out today and hunt and gather? This is really important because the bigger this number gets, the more you can spend in ads to ultimately grow your business, and the less efficient those ads have to be. Remember, when we're starting to acquire profitable customer journeys with multiple purchases, and potentially each one of those purchases might be more efficient because we might not need to pay nearly as much for all of them. What we're doing is we're setting ourselves up for future cash flow. We're setting ourselves up to have grain in the silo. We're gonna have money in the bank whether or not we do anything today. And we can spend our money to acquire more profitable customer journeys so that tomorrow or next week or next month, that amount of grain in the silo continues to grow. As long as it grows faster than we use it, we're gonna need more and more silos. Our bank account will get bigger and bigger and bigger. And it has very little to do with how profitable any one day is. It has almost nothing to do with the average order value of any one particular purchase. It has everything to do with acquiring customers instead of relying on making sales. So what's the superpower of acquiring customers versus just making sales? By growing your revenue floor so that you can begin to invest more and more each day, even at a lower efficiency. So you're acquiring customers at a higher and higher volume. You see stable, geometric growth. I've been growing businesses from high 6 and mid 7 to mid 8 and low 9 figures for years now. Pretty much every single year. For nearly the last half decade, I've done this at least once. The last time I came on board, the business was doing $200,000 a month. Now, 1 year later, we're doing $1 million a week. The reason that this works over and over again isn't because I'm really lucky. It's because we're focusing on the best way to be farmer. We're focusing on the best way to acquire a better revenue floor tomorrow. When we start focusing on growing our business instead of prioritizing the ego of the marketer and rewarding salespeople who, if they leave tomorrow, we're dead, our future is gonna look a lot brighter and it's gonna be a lot easier to stay there. We're gonna make a lot more money and we're not gonna have to work nearly as hard to do it. Now, I know you've enjoyed this, and trust me, this is just the first in a series of videos I'm gonna be dropping over the next few weeks. And if you want even more in-depth help and lessons every single week and the opportunity to get on camera, share your screen, and dive deep into your path to success, check out Disruptor School. And you can hit the first link in this description to enroll. We'll get to chat every single week. You'll get guest lecturers and ebooks and courses and the ability to absolutely maximize your potential. And if that's not enough, if you really want to accelerate your growth and be one of the best Facebook advertisers and train yourself to be one of the best CMOs in the business, go check out the Facebook Ads MBA program. It's the second link down below, mba.facebookdisruptor.com. This is my high-touch, lifetime access accelerator where I come in and teach an additional class every single week with nearly a dozen courses and ebooks, textbooks, lessons, and frameworks to take you from being good to being great. If you're stuck at where you're at, or you've hired ad agencies and they're just not working out, or if you are sick and tired of the next person promising you the best performance in the world, lying to you and flaking and just letting you down, this investment in the rest of your business's future will pay off in spades. So yeah, with that, I'm gonna let you go. I got more stuff to do. I got these puppies around here. So until next time, I'll see you on the internet. Bye.